My name is Alexander Stojanovic. I'm an entrepreneur in digital media and deep tech since maybe 98, actually, accounting altogether 3 M&A exits to global corporations. And in 2014, after witnessing really the senseless death of many people by myself, and who only died because easily available information was not made available in the situation, my co-founder Sascha Knopp and I decided to put all of our energy, resources, and also heart into this one ambition and goal, which is to make technology useful for society and for humans. So we set off to deploy cutting-edge data technology and AI for a safe and more secure world. And with that, we created AVA, which is an artificial intelligence and data fusion platform for security, safety, and risk intelligence, but in the physical world. So we're not a cyber technology company, but we focus on things that actually happen in the real world, so to say. So we monitor and manage data on incidents, accidents, and critical events. We structure them and contextualize them to this continuously increasing stream of data so that we can detect patterns and anomalies and send out alerts and predict critical events in the physical world. For that, we integrate a lot of different various data sources, for example, social media, shared data from public authorities, IoT, sensors and camera stacks, but also the feeds from broadcasting media, news agencies, and professional intelligence providers are available on AVA. Plus our customers, the users that use our systems, populate AVA with their own data and use AVA as an incident management tool. And they can also collaborate like with other customers using their own data, making it available and sharing. All of this we do with the highest ethical standards and with full adherence to the strictest regulations imaginable to privacy data and AI. So we're really like perfectly in shape with that. And maybe for that reason, some refer to us as the European answer to Palantir, whereby others refer to us more to weather forecasts, yet not for wind, rain, and sun, but for things like crime, fire, accidents, catastrophes, social and political risk, health risk, of course. So COVID-19 was a very important topic for us in the last months, and terrorism. Today, we are already operational, so this is not a vision. We are real and existing. For example, London City Hall, the Metropolitan Police, uses our systems to increase the security and safety of their citizens. We are working for public transport operators around the world to support them to keep their operations secure and resilient and continuous. And we support very large organizations to manage like their global security. One example, as you can see here, is DHL, but other multinationals as well, particularly in the case of COVID-19, this was important. You will find us in situation and rooms and command and control rooms. You will find AVA in the field through mobile applications. And our core goal, like to do something that is really available for everybody, is still like on our plan, and we're working towards that. And in general, you can really imagine of AVA as being like a universal data platform for security. So maybe sometime in the future, your car will tell you where it's safe to park or to navigate, or your insurance company will use our data, quant funds, all of kind of organizations and use cases that are relevant. Altogether, we are soon to be 50 awesome people in Berlin, Novi Sad, and London with exceptional skills, and everybody really with their hearts at the right spot. And together with everybody from the AI ecosystem, at least those people that we like and we love to push forward, we really work to achieve common goals, which are, of course, also sustainable development goals. So we are very aware of all of the work that all of you guys are doing, and happy to be part of this global community to drive the use of artificial intelligence for good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was also perfect timing, I have to say, on the minute. So I'll ask for our judges and mentors. I mean, if you have any questions, they just can enable their videos. Yeah, I can see Gary's here. Gary, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for the presentation. Can you tell us a bit more about the number of customers that you have currently, what sort of revenue figures you have, and really who's the kind of typical user, and what are they using it for, and how much do they pay?
Okay, so these are a couple. So right now we are working, I would say, like really customers, not to mention like pilot projects and things that are going on. 6 large customers, some of them most known like to the world. The usual application areas currently are for professional security experts in corporations, for example. Imagine the Global Security Situation Center of DHL, which has to take like account and responsibility like for the security of this very large organization. You have analysts there working every day to figure out like what is going on in the world and where do we need to take action. This can be piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. This can be border closing somewhere in the world for whatever reason. And so far, usually like such analysts would use emails and Outlook and traditional tools to manage this information. And through AVA, they actually can narrow down the wealth of information to only the things that matters to the individual analyst. And yeah, please.
Just because I know other people have questions. So how much do they pay, and do you have any IP?
Yes, we do have IP. So aside of keeping a couple of our technologies a trade secret, we also applied for patents both in the US, in China, in Israel, and many other places, and really manage like a growing IP portfolio. The usual relationship that we currently have with our customers is through licenses. So our customers make use of the platform by using the interfaces, like the web interface, the mobile interface, and there are like monthly payments for on a user by user basis. This is a little bit different if customers only want to access data to use it in their internal processes or internal structures. Then the pricing is based on a per 1,000 API calls basis. So yeah, like it's the similar way as, for example, Google Maps would charge for the use of their APIs.
Thanks, Gary. Mujan, would you like to go ahead? You have a question?
Yes, I would like to ask you, how many women do you have in your team?
Oh, good question. I think we currently have, I might be wrong, but it's 8 or 9 women. Yeah, yeah, it might be wrong because we are also distributed already now. Even though like we are soon to be 50 people, we're like at 3 places. I'm in Berlin. In Berlin, we have 4 people. Like the majority of our team are engineers and R&D people. We only started to become commercial end of 2019. So our organization, particularly in Berlin and London, are growing, but our R&D organization in Novi Sad is the biggest one. And I think over there it should be like 8 people, 8 or 9 women, yes. Whereby, referring to what you said before, there is definitely still a lack in talent coming from universities and academic field, which are also women, particularly in Serbia, where we do have like our R&D. It is still like a very, very male-driven domain, whereby we see this changing a lot, and we encourage this because particularly with what we do as a company in technology, the question of diversity on all fields, not just gender related, but also culture related, and all the aspects like of being a human are extremely important, because there is so much of subjectiveness in the question of security, safety. Not things that are secure and safe to me do not have to be secure and safe for you, not just based like on who we are as people and how we were born, but also where we grew up, etc. So building a technology that will work for the world in this aspects needs to reflect the perspective of the world. So it is definitely something that we encourage, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Aaron have a question as well. So Aaron, please go ahead. And then maybe if I see Joseph also might have a question, so he can go next after Aaron.
Oh, your microphone is muted, I think.
You're on mute, Aaron.
Oh, sorry, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the great presentation.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions actually. First question is regarding data privacy and regulatory aspects of what you're doing. Since that varies from geography to geography and country to country, are you guys trying to like comply with the local regulations in each of these regions that you operate in? For example, it's much stricter in Europe versus, let's say, India or other countries.
Absolutely.
So, that's one. And the second question is about the the concern of consumers, and the people who are from who we're collecting the data about, there's a whole a lot of concern, as you know, recently about privacy and data, and consumers are worried about surveillance and all of these technologies, which is regarded as invasive to their privacy. And how are you addressing those concerns?
I think these questions can be probably even answered in one context. First of all, as you said before, there are many differences on whether you do business in different countries in regards of regulation. Maybe we are just lazy. So we pick the countries or the areas with the most strictest regulation and apply this to everybody else. It makes management a little bit easier, even though one might say by having less regulation, you can do more. Effectively, it turns out creativity starts with a no. So if you restrict yourself by, for example, saying we don't want to have individual names on our systems. If that is, like a challenge that you put also to R&D and to designers, then they will come up with new creative solutions that nobody really thought about before. So it's possible to create something like what we do without actually tapping into the fields where actually we would have to question our ethical framework. That doesn't really make a difference in regards of how it is perceived, right? The question, of course, is, oh, this is a technology company. Most probably it's driven by economic reward. So they will probably do anything that they can do in order to increase their customer base, blah, blah, blah. So, the conversation around the concern of users has to be definitely addressed differently than through legal or through technological aspects. It's really about being very transparent, so we are not hiding. If you come to visit us in Berlin or any other place, you will see, we are open. Citizens can enter our offices and we speak with them, give them a presentation over what we are doing, and try to be really precise over the ethical frameworks and the philosophy that drives this idea and what we're pushing forward. And aside of that, maybe as the last note, we started while Albrecht Commission in Europe was working on GDPR. So I would consider us being almost like a post-GDPR company. So we never had to think old ways in a new way. We simply started with all of the restrictions that were there early enough to be now a little bit ahead of most, but on the other side, I don't consider the regulations and the restrictions that we see really an issue. If you want to solve a problem, you can solve the problem even by accepting what is acceptable and whatnot.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Joseph, please go ahead.
Okay, very good. Alexandra, nice job. It's quite relevant to the very topic I brought up via my introductions.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice job. I think this is a great business, and I think it'll only get even more needed over time. I think demand is just there. A couple of questions. I think. Extent, yeah. No, it's yeah, I understand. It's the nature, I think, of how things are. I just want to follow up a little bit on what Gary asked. Just qualify again, if you don't mind. Are you pre-revenue or are you revenue? So you mentioned you had customers.
We are revenue. Yes.
Okay.
We are.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
As I said before, in late 2019, sorry, we started commercializing the organization and actually booking revenues. So COVID-19, how unfortunate it was, actually had a large impact on our business, and also in that regard that the plans that we had for the complete year of 2020, we achieved revenue-wise in the first quarter already. So the company is in a really good shape in terms of proving what it's capable of, but the problems that we now have to face are not really anymore the proving of whether it's a business and whether it works. It is now really about ensuring that we have the structure and the organizational capacity to actually scale this beyond the level where we are right now. So serving 5, 6, 7 customers is one thing, but serving 20, 30, 50, 100 customers with such a critical aspect is the real challenge still lies ahead. we don't feel as if we could relax now in the upcoming years. No.
Okay, very good. And then one last question. Again, congratulations. I think this is a tough economic environment, and it sounds like you guys are really on the right track. Really, the last question, I know we've got to get moving on to the next presenter, is around your business model. Looks like you have mobile app. So are you attempting to sell to both consumer as well as to enterprise? On the enterprise, is that more of like an OEM system integration type model?
So we chose for separate for different regions in the world, different strategies. So I would say, like in the developed world, saying Europe, US, we don't think it would be wise for us to come up like with an app. It's much smarter to go like to be embedded like into existing ecosystems, so that we don't have to compete on the App Store like with Angry Birds and Fruit Ninja. Whereby I think like in other regions of the world, we might come up like with a mobile app for end users. The mobile app that we are deploying right now are for security field forces and professionals. So for police officers or security staff that actually need to go somewhere, need to be in constant contact with the security situation center. So this mobile app is rather also like for governments or for business customers.
Okay, great. So it sounds like you're focused on businesses, enterprises, large, small, and more OEM and system integration. Okay, yes. Thank you. Nice job again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Morgan, you have a very quick question, please, because of the time. Just a quick one.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because we mentioned the police office and everything, and we heard about the recent racism towards like you know, we heard about it, and the applications using the data can, you know, sometimes augment the devices we have. I just was curious that, are you working with police and authorities? Are you selling it to them? And if yes, how do you manage to you know, make sure that it's not biased?
So we work with governments and with police. So we on the other side do not do everything that a potential customer or customer wants from us. So whenever we talk about things that are related like to, you know, identifying individuals, understanding organizational networks of, for example, street gangs, you know, who is responsible for whom. And there are many different companies working in this field. For us, it's really more about the fabric of understanding information, making information flow. So the decision how a security department of a corporation, the mayor of a city, or the individual police officer is reacting is not something that we are driving through AVA. We are providing information. Hopefully, this information will help to make better decisions. But the actual procedures, the actual perspectives and that the individual using our system is having, we cannot necessarily influence. And I think we would have it very hard if we as a technology company would try to go beyond giving advice and sharing our rather humanistic perspective on these kind of things. So we say, you know, like data is something that should be supporting all of society, not just specific groups. And we all have a very long way to go to ensure that power is not used in the wrong way, and maybe through democratizing part of this power, because even technology was responsible for us even becoming aware of what happened in the US, for example, with Mr. Floyd. We probably would never have heard that if there weren't smartphones, if people hadn't recorded that and put it like on social media. So this has two sides of that equation, and we are very aware of it, but we will need help of everybody, like fighting like for the same cause. That technology will be used for good and not for bad. I hope this answers it as short as possible, because this is probably like a discussion for a long evening with a lot of white wine. Yeah.